folks, welcome back to George Does Stuff. I am George and I do stuff, mostly knife reviews. I occasionally do some fishing videos and I might spice it up every now and then with just random silliness. Anyway, thank you guys. Hey, Happy New Year. I'm filming this in January of 2026, so if you guys are tuning in around that time, Happy New Year. If you guys are tuning in later in the year, I hope you're still having a Happy New Year. This is kind of a special episode for me. I am replacing some knives that I sold earlier. I think it was actually last year. I think it was actually 2024, not 2025. I believe that's correct. Yeah, I sold these in 2024. I had two knives from this company. I love these knives very much, but I just sat on them. I never used them. They were just safe queens, and I ran into some fiduciary issues, and I sold them for a huge profit, and I don't regret it, but I did miss the knives. And so obviously I couldn't replace them with the same knives because the knives that I sold were no longer manufactured, at least in the steel that I got them. And so enter the new. Yes, folks, it is another Microtech, and you may know that I recently got an LUDT that I love. I got the SOCOM Mini SOCOM Bravo, which just is a terrible knife. It's a beautiful knife. It's one of the prettiest. I think it might be the prettiest knife that I own, but the action's terrible. The heat treatment on the steel is terrible. It came not sharp. I'm having trouble sharpening it. It's just, everything about it has just been an absolute nightmare. But it did not in any way turn me off of Microtech. I've been a Microtech fan for years and years and years. My oldest Microtech is 15 years old. I have another one that's about that same age that I will do a video on eventually, but not right now. That is a limited run that is now the most valuable knife that I own, but that's neither here nor there. But this knife, I've digressed enough to let you guys know. It is a knife that I bought for a specific reason, just like the LUDT. There's the Microtech sticker. It's all about the stickers, folks. If you don't have the stickers, just throw it away. And there it is. I finally got a new SOCOM Elite. I've had two other SOCOM Elites. Actually, technically I have three other SOCOM Elites. I sold two of them. I still have my automatic, which I may or may not. Well, it's been in my channel before. But I got this one at a discounted price, which I was very happy about. And it is absolutely beautiful. This was actually inspected by M3, so I believe this may have been inspected by a BMW vehicle. I have no way to prove that. It is sealed in a wonderfully thick plastic bag, and there she is in her stonewash beauty. Look at that! Look at that! It's actually, it looks like a little orange on here. It is not really that orange. It's just the color of the light I'm using. And let's get her open. Oh, that sweet, sweet SOCOM super blade heavy action. Nice Tanto. This is in the M390 MK, the Microtech Knives M390, which theoretically is supposed to have a little bit better edge retention than regular M390. I have no idea whether or not that's true or not. It does have all the billboarding, as I mentioned before. I am a fan of billboarding. I like the fact that I can see the serial number on it. I can see when it was made. I'm proud of the fact it's Microtech, so I like having Microtech's name up there in big freaking bold letters. This is a design element they've been going with for quite some time. I love the cutout to give you access to the thumb studs for opening. I really, really dig this skateboard type grip tape they have inlaid in here. I just think that's awesome. And I really, really dig that stonewash finish. I prefer satin finishes, but this knife was available in stonewash, and it looks more tactical, whatever you want to say, with the stonewash finish to it. It's got the wonky, super weird, funky Microtech pocket clips. I don't know why they make them all squiggly like that, but it's kind of part of the charm of the knife, I suppose. I believe that's made out of titanium. As usual, it's got the perfect amount of tension. It's not going to tear up your jeans. It's really nice and smooth. This side's smooth. It is not reversible. So sorry, lefties. But it shouldn't matter that much. You can carry it. You can probably carry it lefty if you wanted to. Tip down, of course. There's only one way to carry it. Tip down. A lot of people don't like tip down. I personally have no problem with that. My paramilitary I've been carrying for 15 years is tip down. I didn't even realize it until I'd carried all these years that it's not tip up. But I carried a knife tip up and it sliced my finger wide open. So I'm really not upset about having tip down. It does not bother me at all. It does have the absolutely unnecessary and possibly unusable glass breaker on there. So if you guys need a glass breaker, there it is. I know on the newest versions of these that have the ram lock, they actually got rid of the glass breaker. And this, it looks like they've actually kind of changed this because the original glass breaker was much more aggressive than this. It was very pointy and uncomfortable. And this one is much rounder, almost looks like a BB in there as opposed to a point, which is kind of nice. It's got a really functified lanyard hole too. That's trippy looking. I like it. I like it. Tony Marfione, if you're watching this, I like it. Don't be mad at me. He has no idea who I am. Giant Torx on there. It's probably like a 10 or bigger. Giant T8s. These are teeny tiny. Not a huge fan of that, but I'm not going to take this knife apart. I love these little ramps that they have built into the scales here. So when you open it, instead of, I guess you can call it jimping, but it's technically not jimping. But it really helps you lock your hand in. And that axis right there also, it has it down here as well, really locks your hand in. I mean, once you get this knife in your hand, it is not going anywhere. It does have jimping up here. I would not recommend holding this like this. It has an excellent, actually it's not that great of a sharpening trail, but it has a sharpening trail on there. It has a very thin bevel on there, which is shockingly thin. If I recall correctly, the tanto portion is not particularly sharp on this knife. I need to fix that at some point, but the belly is sharp enough at the moment. SOCOMs tend to be larger knives, which is one of the reasons why I was able to get rid of the other ones without, sweating it too much. I never carried them because, I always like to say on this channel that, you don't want a knife that's so big that when you open it up, people go running for the hills, like, oh my God, that guy, has a murder weapon. And let's face it, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is a knife that looks like a tactical knife. It looks like this knife is meant to stab into things and people and whatever, and it is just, if somebody took this out and came running after me, I would just run as fast as I could, which is not very, and then I'd fall down and have a heart attack and die. But at least I wouldn't get cut first. These knives are very, you can kind of see the blade stock it's deceptively thick. I mean, it's really thick right here. This swedge here really gives it the appearance that it's thin. But once you get to the tip, you kind of see exactly how thick this blade really is. It is very thick. It does thin out nicely, but not super thin when you get to the end. But as a result, I mean, this thing it's very heavily weighted towards the blade. There's so much handle here, it's kind of deceptive again. But I mean, when you feel this knife, it just wants to thud down. It's a big old chunky blade on there. It's a big old piece of M390. And M390 is a much maligned these days steel. I think M390 is actually much better than people give it credit for, and people still love it. So hey, it's even better. I'd actually argue that it's got a lot of the qualities that MagnaCut has. It's just not quite as tough as MagnaCut, but it's extremely corrosion resistant. It has very good edge retention. It's just a little bit more brittle than MagnaCut, which is, hey, I've said this 1,000 times. When it comes to folding knives, you want a harder knife than you do if you're doing a hard use fixed blade, because chances are you're not going to subject this to the same type of damage you would on a fixed blade if you were in a survival or camping scenario, something like that. But I have digressed long enough. These scales are aluminum. These are the fastener for the liner lock. The action on this is it is not super slick, but it is definitely quality. There's no, you can feel. There are only a few knives that I have ever owned that you can kind of tell what it is by the way it thwacks open. One of them is a SOCOM Elite, and the other one is a Strider. And I have a couple Striders. I'm not going to take them out right now, but when a Strider locks, it's akin to being locked in a bank vault. I mean, it just crack, and you're done. It's not going anywhere. And that's the way SOCOMs are. Zero blade play in this. Side to side, up or down. I mean, I'm really giving it the business, and it is not. There's nothing loose on this. This is what got me started on Microtech knives. This is, and forever shall be, one of my favorite Microtech knives. It's dance with the one who brung you, and I'm very, very happy to once again have one of these. I am some point going to have to bite the bullet and actually put my own edge on here, because and Microtech typically their blades are mind-numbingly sharp out of the factory. As a matter of fact, the two SOCOM Elites that I sold, which were in 20 CV, were without a doubt the sharpest factory edges on any knife I've ever had. I mean, they were razor blades. They were beyond razor blades. They were too sharp. They were terrifyingly sharp knives. Hey, now we got the new one. It doesn't feel. It's not quite as sharp. We'll take out some paper here and some notebook paper in a little bit and give it a shot. But for right now, it's time to do size comparisons. And it's only fair to bring out its cousin, the LUDT. So now I have two Tanto Microtech knives. There's a reason for the blue and the red, and I eventually will show everybody, but I'm not going to do it right now. For comparison, we have the Kumu Knives Compadre, also a wonderful, wonderful knife. And you can really kind of start to see how big the SOCOM Elite is. I mean, this is not a small knife. It's not a big knife, but it's definitely not a small knife, and the SOCOM is just dwarfing it. The LUDT is also not the world's biggest knife, but to kind of put things in true perspective, here we have the PM2, which is my most frequently carried knife, and we will take out the X-Took, which is again it's an M390 knife, titanium, one of my favorite knives. Just completely looks like a joke compared to the SOCOM. We got two more here for our size comparo. We have the full-size Iridium, which again, like I always like to say, always surprises me how big it is, and even still, it is dwarfed by the SOCOM Elite. The SOCOM Elite is a truly, truly large knife. And then we'll take out the Deca Hogue. Nice magnet cut knife, and the most underrated knife I own right there. You really get an idea of how big the SOCOM is. It is a large and in-charge knife. I'm actually going to throw a wild card in here because I happen to have it on the table. It's a knife that seldom appears in the channel, but what it does is always fun. And that is the Nox Knife Cougar, which is the largest folder that I own. And you can see here what I'm talking about. That's an almost 11-inch knife. So that'll give you an idea how big the SOCOM Elite is. And I will put the dimensions of the SOCOM Elite up here, and current price probably at least on Blade HQ, if not somewhere else. It's just a fantastic knife. It's one of those knives that it holds a special place in my heart. I think a lot of people, kind of revere Microtech knives. This would be I think the 6th or 7th one that I own, and it definitely won't be the last. I plan on getting more. I may try to find some vintage, some older ones. I actually have, like I said, 2 much older 15-year-old knives that are made by Microtech that I really like. But yeah, this knife I'm very happy to have this back in the fold. And speaking of fold, the last thing we have to do is our cutting test. So let me pause for the cause and see if I can't find some paper. And by miracle, suddenly paper appears. Fresh sheet just for the SOCOM Elite. And let's see here. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. That is a nice edge. And this is what I expect from a factory edge at Microtech. And like I said, this is not a thin blade. This is a very, very thick knife. It does thin out a bit towards the edge, but not that much. And yeah, very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Very, very happy with Microtech. I'm glad to see that the quality of Microtech is still there. American-made knife. Just a wonderful, wonderful design. It's been around for a long time. They've made some subtle changes to it, but it's still very much harkens back to the originals. And yeah, I love it. Highly recommend it. Great knife. That's it, folks. That's what I got for you. The Microtech SOCOM Elite Tanto M390 MK stone washed edge or blade. Just a fantastic knife. Just a big, beefy, durable. It's a hard-ish used knife, and yeah, I love it. I'm glad to have another one. I have a feeling somehow that I'm eventually going to get this in automatic, because I need to have one. Anyway, that's it, folks. I cannot thank you enough for watching and enduring my hemming and hawing and saying every 5 seconds. Generally, I only do that when I'm lost on a knife that I don't like, or if I'm just bewildered in love and beguiled, because this knife has got a little piece of my soul, and I absolutely love it. Love you guys too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all next time on George Does Stuff, and I hope to talk to you soon.